What's up, it's Payne. Yesterday I got the new Nike SB Ishod Wairs on the release date. This video will be about my first impressions, a skate test, and a review after I skated them for a while. First off, to be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of the way the shoe looks, but the longer I've had them and the more I see them, I think they're growing on me. But I do have to give credit to Ishod for designing a shoe that looks completely different from the recent models. But yeah, before I got this shoe, I saw this Instagram post from Nike SB or Nothing, and I have no clue how true this is, but the shoe is actually vulcanized and it's not a cupsole. It definitely looks like a cupsole to me. It's a mix between Nike SB Dunk for the structure and the Blazer for being vulcanized and for the flick. But when I look at the toe area, it reminds me of the Nike SB Force 58. I haven't skated those, so I have no clue how those are. The swoosh is facing the opposite way than normal. I think the most interesting part of the shoe is the wavy lines on the side, and it's also on the tongue. It feels like it's for ventilation. Most of the shoe is suede, and there's a lot of rubber action going on as well. If you guys had the Nijas, the black rubber part feels like the rubber from the Nijas, and the white sole part kind of feels like the material from the Nike SB Bruins. The tongue is more thick than I thought. The second I put my foot in the shoe, I noticed how snug this shoe is. The main thing I don't like about the shoe is the lacing. It has regular lacing holes up until the halfway point, then it has this thing where you have to put the shoelace through. Another thing I noticed is that the insole is actually pretty thick, more than I thought. I thought it was just gonna have the standard Nike SB Air Zoom insole. I don't know what the Nike React is for, but I think it might be extra impact support, or it might be for a vulcanized structure. But yeah, I'm gonna do my first kickflip test and get a couple clips and get a skate test going on. So yesterday I actually skated these for a little bit right after the 2 kickflips. It was a live session though because I wanted to film a skate test / break-in video and I knew I wasn't going to film it then. But the first thing I noticed after a few tricks is the flexibility and the board feel. The shoe is actually more flexible than it looks, and surprisingly amazing board feel. I only say that because this shoe literally looks like a cupsole. But yeah, I'm at the skate park, it's cold, I'm tired. I'm gonna break them in and get a couple clips for you guys. So it's been about 2 hours after warming up and getting those clips. Yeah, I'm pretty rusty on the board right now, but this is what the shoe looks like. As I mentioned before, to my surprise, these shoes are very easy to break in. But yeah, for me, I usually get holes doing ollies more rather than flip tricks. So if you can see in the ollie area, not much going on, but you can obviously see some wear. And I'm not much of a kick flipper these days, but I thought this black rubber part will mess with my flick. They kind of remind me of the Nijas, but to my surprise, they didn't. It's been a few hours so far, and so far, I'm liking the shoe. But yeah, after I skate them more, I'll give you guys a full review. So this is my second day skating this shoe. I was trying to learn front 5-0 back 180s out. Never done the trick, and as I said before, I usually tear my shoe up doing more ollie type tricks. This is the result after the end of the session. And now let's get on to the full review of the Ishod Wairs. As I said before, they pretty much broke in right out the box. It is a vulcanized shoe, but it does give off a cupsole vibe when you look towards the heel. And this seems obvious, but the longer you skate them, the more flexible it gets. So now they're pretty flimsy. So if you guys do like that, that's a plus for you. And now I want to move on talking about the flick. The toe isn't pointy. It's pretty much round like the Blazer as they intended it to be. To me, the flick felt perfect the first 2 weeks. I like a stiffer shoe when it comes to the flick, but the more flexible they got, I didn't have that first 2-week perfect flick feeling. But I feel like the sole helps retain its shape, so my flick still feels nice and my tricks feel fine as well. And now let's move on to the board feel. I actually didn't expect this, but these shoes have really solid board feel. I was able to feel my board the second I set foot. My first 50 grams just felt solid. And there's not much to talk about board feel, it's solid. So let's move on to the grip. To me, it felt standard, average, decent. I had no issues, but I noticed when I look at this shoe compared to this shoe, I noticed there is some wear. I didn't really feel it, but if you guys do wear down your grip quite a lot, especially on the standard Nike grip, then these might be an issue. And before I forget, one con that I do have that usually isn't an issue for me is the shoelaces. I rarely rip shoelaces, but if you're a heavy shoelace ripper, I believe you're gonna blow out through the laces. And I didn't notice until I was reviewing these shoes, but the shoelaces towards the top is basically at the last of its thread. And this is a thing with pretty much all Nikes now. I believe they don't throw in an extra lace, so that's a bummer. After all, they're charging like $100 for a shoe. Since we're around the shoelace area, let's talk about the tongue. I believe at first I said I don't like all these like two gray straps and this shoelace hole thing in the middle and the tongue straps, but I actually think it was a pro. It definitely helped keep the tongue stay up, and as I said before, the tongue is thick, very padded. Another cool feature that I didn't notice at first, the heel area, the way it's shaped definitely cups your ankle and keeps your foot in place. And since we're talking about keeping your foot in place, let's talk about sizing. I don't know if this is news to me, but I think one foot is bigger than the other because the left one felt true to size to me and the right one felt a little bit bigger, so I'm gonna have to say they're probably true to size, but if you can, I definitely recommend going to your local skate shop and trying them out for yourself. Now let's talk about the impact support. As I said before, the insole is thick, way thicker than your classic Nike insole, and I'm not much of an impact or stair skater, but I can tell that these shoes will definitely take impact better than the standard Nike insoles, and I believe this sole helps as well because this feels like a cup sole construction towards the back. I want to talk about ventilation. I wasn't sure about these like squiggly line things. This shoe actually has really good breathability. I'm not gonna lie, it felt kind of stuffy at first just because of how thick the tongue is and how much like it feels like it just keeps your foot snug. But the longer I skated them, I actually did notice it's a pretty breathable shoe, because I know there are a lot of shoes where the inside just feels hot. And looking at the squiggly part now, I'm surprised I actually didn't rip through them. I thought I would just because of how it feels, but now that I'm like really touching them and looking at them again, I feel like it's actually like rubber, like this black rubber thing. And lastly, let's talk about durability. I got these on release day, so it's been a little over a month now, and I probably skated these about 20 to 25 days, an hour each session. As you can tell, I ripped through the suede quicker than the rubber. I actually didn't go through the rubber at all, and I feel like it has an extra month or two of life left in them. The ollie hole area is where I ripped the most and quickest, and this area actually had 2 layers of suede. I'm looking at this part now, and I just wanted to say like the shoelace part right here is actually not shoelace protectors, but anyways, the first layer actually took about 3 weeks for me to rip, and I'm just starting to get another hole on the second layer. And if you look at the black rubber, you can see the lining of the suede. So if you rip this part of the shoe, you actually have to go through the rubber to get to the suede. So I would say the shoe is really strong. I'm more of a switch flipper than a regular kick flipper. You can tell there's more rubber wearing off. So I guess if you're a heavy toe flicker, then you'll rip them pretty quick. And if you do a lot of kick flips, obviously, I'm pretty sure I could skate these for another month if I wanted to. And now the final question. Are these worth it? These shoes retail for $100. They're actually one of my favorite shoes now, which I didn't expect them to be. I'd definitely get another pair if I find a colorway that I like and that I can rock every single day. I really wanted the olive brown shoes, but they sold out really fast. So yeah, overall, solid shoe. If you guys want to try them out, check them out at your local skate shop. Yeah, and if you guys enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe. That always helps. Thanks, yo. Peace out.